Every week, we break down real estate investing with real deals, real numbers, and real strategies you can actually use.
And I'm learning right alongside you. We'll ask the questions beginners are afraid to ask and show you what it really takes to build wealth through real estate.
Whether you're buying your first property or your 50th, welcome to BrickFolio.
All right, welcome everybody. Welcome to the BrickFolio podcast. My name is Daniel Anderson. I am here with
Brian Biernat.
All right, we are super excited you're here again on this wonderful Friday morning.
On this hot Friday morning. Triple digits over the next 5 days.
Yeah. Hey, but I'll take this over freezing cold any day.
Amen.
All right, so we have, some might say, the GOAT of real estate investing here in the Jackson, Mississippi area. He is certainly to me. So we have Bob Lucroy on today, and I'm going to just say a few things, and then I'm going to shoot it over to Brian to give the full introduction. But the first time that I met Bob Lucroy was at Dealmakers Jackson, I guess was that 2 months ago?
June, when Wendy was here.
Okay, yeah. When Wendy Sweet was there. That was my first time. And when I first met him and first saw him, I was like, okay, this guy, he's dressed cool and chill. He's got an incredible demeanor to him. He's got a great, as the kid would say, vibe, you know? And come to find out, he's done some incredible things for the real estate market for people like me that are learning, and for seasoned veterans such as Brian that are wheeling and dealing every single day. And I can't say how grateful I am to him for him agreeing to be in here with us today, and I cannot wait to learn a tremendous amount from him. So without further ado, here's Brian to give the full introduction.
Thank you, Daniel. So I met Bob, gosh, I guess probably at a rig meeting, probably 6 years ago, maybe. Let me just say
the one at Scrooge's?
Yeah, the one at Scrooge's. Yeah. So there's that meeting. It's like every other Thursday. Then we have Dealmaker. Dealmaker Jackson is on the third Thursday. So if you're local in the area, by all means, plug into those meetups. But let me just say a few things about Bob. I don't want to embarrass Bob. Bob is very humble. Bob is probably one of the highest integrity people that I've ever met. If he tells you he's going to be somewhere, he's going to do something, he does it. And he is a straight shooter as a straight shooter goes.
And he's always going to be early.
And he's always going to be, he's on LaCroix time. It's 5 minutes, 10 minutes before you need to be there. Now, kind of like,
my kind of
like Lombardi time. So I'm a big football guy. So Vince Lombardi, there's time and then there's Lombardi time, right? Go read the book, Distant Replay. You'll understand. But Bob is a gentleman. He'll give you the shirt off his back. He has a wealth of knowledge, and he didn't start in the business until age 50. Is that right?
Well, I started in the
investment side.
Yes, when I was 15.
So I want to introduce my friend. He's a mentor. He is a great gentleman. He's been around. He's seen a lot. And so today, Bob Lucroy, welcome.
Thank you.
We appreciate you coming on with us. And let's just start off by saying, so Bob, tell us, maybe just give us a little background, like what did you do before real estate, and then how did you get into real estate?
Thank you for the opportunity to be here. I'm looking forward to this.
Appreciate you.
We are a small company. My company is Bob Lucroy Renovations, Bob Lucroy Properties. I've been in business since I started in the renovation business, and I guess it was 1972. And from there, I helped my wife in the apartment business, and that's actually where I started at, is in working with her and her boss in the large apartment complexes in Vicksburg. That's where we started at.
Did you live in Vicksburg?
I lived.
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
I was my background prior to that was I was a newspaper person. I worked for the Meridian Star for 19 years.
Okay.
And then they got word that I was looking to go to Vicksburg. So my boss at that time says, we're going to go ahead and accept your resignation. I says, I hadn't quit yet. He says, oh, yeah. If you're looking for someone else to work for, we know you're going to leave us. Sure enough, I did. I left Vicksburg, left Meridian, and we moved to Vicksburg. And Pat got started on the apartment complex immediately because really we needed a place to live. So they furnished apartments.
I want to interrupt you 1
Yeah.
second because I know Pat had some health challenges about a year ago.
Right.
How is she doing?
She's doing good. She's
Okay, we've been praying for her. So
thank you.
Okay.
So she and I both are, I think, very healthy for our age.
yeah.
I'm 87, and I'm not going to tell her age, but she's there.
No, that would not be good.
So,
So I want to say one thing. I'm going to let Bob continue, but
87.
but let me explain something to you.
That's
and this will,
incredible.
when people ask what is the secret, Bob typifies and demonstrates. He's a machine. He has a routine every day, and we'll get into that.
Yep.
But he's 87, and he does the same. And you know what the difference between people who aren't successful and the ones that are? The ones that aren't are looking for the magic bullet. They're looking for the the beans, Jack and the beanstalk. They're looking for the magic beans. They're looking for the overnight
Easy, quick.
There is no easy button. It's all about what are you doing today. Anyway, keep going, sir.
Yeah. So anyway, that's where I started actually in the real estate is when I started there. And at that time, I didn't do a lot of maintenance work. I just kind of helped her a little bit because she had maintenance people. But I watched them, what they did. And that's where I started at.
Okay.
So her boss approached me one day and says, Bob, let's start a service company. And I says, what do you mean a service company? He says, let's start a company that you can renovate houses and do maintenance work and in our apartment complex program. And I says, well, I ain't got no money. He says, I got money. And he says, I'll support you until you get started. Excuse me. So that's how I started. He put up $1,000. That was in 1972. And that's when I started. And he had just purchased this large apartment complex that needed 100% rehab. He says, that's going to be your first job. I says, Ernest, I don't know anything about building or anything. He says, hire people. Hire people that you know that they can do the business. So I did. And I hired this one guy. He just moved in the neighborhood and actually in one of the apartments that Pat was renting. And he was looking for a job. He was a full renovation guy. And I never forget, I hired him. I paid him $5 an hour. That's that's
Wow.
many years ago.
1972.
Yeah.
So let's see. If we double that every 10 years, so $10 and 80, 20 in the 90s, 40. That's about $80 an hour today.
Yeah.
Gosh.
So Fred stayed with me for 14 years in this business.
Wow.
And then we later on moved to Pat was called to go to a large complex in Dallas, Garland, Texas. And then we moved to Texas, and Fred followed us to Texas. Then I started a renovation company there in Dallas. So I've been a renovator for a long time, and that's where I learned a lot of real estate. I learned values. I learned how to do things. And number one is I don't work. I never owned a saw. Don't know how to use one. Don't want to know how to use one. But I know
you know how to find the people that can.
And I know how it should be done. So
And there's a tip right there. There's a book by Dan Martell called Who Not How.
Love that
need
book.
to learn to find the who.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And Bob just gave us a great example.
Yes.
Keep going, sir.
Yeah. So that's where I started. And then we got homesick to come to Mississippi. We stayed in Texas a little over 2 years. And we moved back to Jackson. I never lived in Jackson, but my father had a business service station on Old Canton Road in Jackson. So we came back here, and I started looking for a job. At that time, I had learned a lot about renovations out in Dallas. I worked on celebrities' homes. I had a lot of people there that had money, and they paid good money. So I began to become a salesman in Dallas, a salesman for real estate renovations.
Can I
for
ask
this
you
company?
a question real quick? So I grew up in Dallas, actually. I grew up in Preston Hollow area, just north of Highland Park, just north of Northwest Highway. Where were you like dealing over like kind of across Preston Road where all those really expensive houses were?
We dealt nothing but high end in North Jackson and Plano, which
Okay.
Plano at that time was the place you wanted to go
Oh, yeah.
because it was a very wealthy
Right.
place. So I did a lot of work in Plano and the general areas around the outskirts of Dallas.
Okay.
But yes, we didn't do any junkers there. We did higher end, and that's where I learned to do a lot of, I think, nice rehabs is when I was in Dallas because you had to meet certain criteria to
Sure.
do that. So anyway, I came to Jackson, and I didn't have a job. I left, and Pat she had a job. So anyway, that's when we got here. I started asking to Suburban Building Company. I says, I'm a salesman in renovation work. Is there an opening? No, we just build new homes. I said, well, I'd like to start with you. I said, I work for pennies. That's what I told him. I said, I work for pennies, but I want to grow your renovation business. So he did. Paul Bass, he owned the company. And he said, I'm going to give you a shot. And you have to draft out what you're going to show people here. And I learned to draft in Dallas. So I started that, and I stayed with Paul for many years.
When you say
And,
draft, are you talking about like the plans for the house or
yes.
for the rehab?
Right.
So obviously there was no computers at this time.
No.
You had a drafting board, the T-square, the whole 9 yards. Right?
Yeah.
I had,
Compass,
yeah.
triangle. I had drafting.
So anyway, I started that and opened up a total renovation company for him here in Jackson. And he said, I don't know where you came from, but I'm glad you showed up. And
There's a compliment.
so that's where I started at. And
Okay.
then Paul was having a meeting.
About what year time frame are we talking?
This was in 1950. This was in
1950.
2000.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, we had a meeting, and there was this guy there that had a house that he was going to sell, and it was a junker, and I bought it. Paul helped me buy the house.
Who'd you buy the house from?
I have no idea. I have no idea. I was.
That's funny.
I never started knowing anything, but that was the first rental house that I ever bought.
Still have it?
Oh no.
Okay.
It's gone. But anyway, my story is that I saw something there that I was going to do, and I was going to become more into the investment world. And I had a job at Calvary Baptist Church on Capitol Street. And one of the elder guys saw me, and he says, Bob, he says, do you need any money? Now, this was in early years now. And I says, everybody needs money. He says, well, I'd like to put some money with you, and I'd like to become a partner with you. And we sat down and worked out a plan to where that we would split 50-50. He'd write a check, I'd do the work, and I'd make the deal. So that worked on for a long time, and he just kept feeding me money. Then I met this guy in Miami, Florida, somewhere along the way. And he says, I want to get involved with you. I have had nothing but uh, partners in my business when I started, just because they saw what I was doing and they saw there was an opportunity for them to make some money.
How did they see what you were doing with no social media, with no internet back then? Like, how did they just word of mouth?
Word of mouth. No
Still,
advertising.
still the best way to
100%.
advertise.
Yeah.
But I want to capitalize on something he said. So he didn't have any money.
Mm-mm.
Wendy came on our first podcast, and what did she say? Everyone thinks they need money, and she laughs at him and says, "No, you need people, and you need a network,
Right.
and you need deals, right?" So a lot of new people, I was that way too,
That's why
have
I
a
didn't get
hard
started for
time
so
to
long.
understand that money isn't your problem. Your problem is deals and network. Anyway, continue on.
Well,
Yeah.
and moving on, and talking about Wendy, she's one of my favorite people, by the
Yeah,
way.
mine too.
Oh, yeah.
And I know I've been to many of her seminars and all along the way. Anyway, that goes back to the other thing that moved me further. I have a partner today that has been with me for years. And partnership, I want to just mention partnership, what that
Please.
really is. Partnership, too, it has a lot of words in it. Number one is commitment. You got a commitment to that that lender. I have people that call me, they got money, they want to loan me money. And I say, well, I don't need any money because I'm not going to borrow money from someone else that I don't know when I got this lender over here, and he's depending on me to make him some money. So I'm not going to spread it too thin. That's where a lot of people make a mistake in this business, by the way. So
Extrapolate on that a little bit, if you don't mind.
Yes, please.
okay, people think, a lot of investors, and I've seen it go over the years, as long as I've been doing this, people think that they need a lot of money from a lot of people. But they don't need a lot of money from a lot of people. They need a lot of money from one partner. And that partner depends on him bringing him a payday, even though he's got money. So I found out that I was seeing that a lot of people borrow money and they don't know what to do with it because they gotta buy something. They start making mistakes. Then they don't have the return pay the lender because he made mistakes by buying too much property and didn't do his homework by having a property that would bring in returns. So I've seen that happen a lot, and I've tried to really talk about that. People is find who will help you and stay with those people, because sooner or later they're going to play out, but you'll have a good reference to go somewhere else.
So what I just heard, and I think we've talked about it on this show before, relationships,
Right.
right? Relationships is greater than money. So
That's the first thing I heard when I came to Dealmakers.
So here's the thing, and I heard it this week. Well, what's their interest rate? Well, how many points? Here's the thing. When you build trust in a relationship with somebody, I don't really care what the interest rate is or the points per se, right? I'm going to factor that into my deal. I want the partner. I want the lender. I want the relationship. So we had a guy here, and he'll be on a show, Travis Ritchie.
Mm-hmm.
So he spoke last February. I don't know if you heard Travis speak when he was here. You might know the
I
name.
did, yeah.
Travis is a great guy, serial entrepreneur. Anyway, Travis said something in the room I'll never forget. He said, the deal's important, the house, the money. He goes, but the most important thing is the jockey. And he looked at Jesse and he looked at me, and not toot my own horn, but and what Bob just said was really key. Partner, i.e. relationship. So if you're out there listening, don't get hung up when you're trying to buy deals, trying to build your business. Don't get hung up on what's their interest rate? Well, I can go to the bank. The bank is not your partner. Okay. The bank is only looking at one thing, your DTI, your debt to income. And at some point, they're going to cut you off. A partner, a relationship can go on and on and on. I have relationships. I'll bet Bob could find a house today. If he likes to buy it, he'll call his partner, and if they could do the title work fast enough, he'd close tomorrow.
Well, let me tell you how that works with me.
Yeah.
If I go to a house tomorrow, and someone has called me to set an appointment, it's $100,000 house. Excuse me. Am I going to have my money in place before I go and make a deal to buy $100,000 house? No. I can sit there, and I always carry a sales contract with me.
That's really
all the time.
That's very.
I don't have to go back and come back the second tour. You can look in my truck right now, and you'll find a folder with sales contracts.
And just a quick caveat: how many deals have you signed on the truck of your hood?
Oh. Well,
it would
thousands.
Okay,
thousands.
I was going to say hundreds. Okay, thousands. There you
thousands.
go. Anyway,
I love it.
Keep going. This is great.
So, anyway, if I see the deal there, I can make a deal right there on the spot, and I can close in 10 working days.
Wow.
Now, keep in mind, I don't have to go and make arrangements to get the money, but I can make the deal right there.
That's right.
And that's the advantage of having a partner that you're going to take care of.
Man, if we were in church, I'm amening like from the front pew. That is so huge.
So you have confidence in the purchase, just so we're clear, you have confidence in the purchase because you have relationships.
Right. Exactly.
He's not worrying about, am I going to get the money? Who's the money? He already has the money, right? When you have those relationships, and let me just tell you, when people reach out on Facebook or LinkedIn or, well, can I use your private lender? No. And why not? Because you don't have a relationship with my private lender.
Right. You can't work off of somebody else's trust.
Doesn't work off my credibility for you.
Right.
You have to build that credibility directly. Right.
Yeah. And that's what I've done over the years. We all remember 2008 and 10 tough years there. I had a really bad experience with a bank operation at that time. And that made me decide that I was going 100%. I haven't been to a bank since probably 2012.
Wow.
And the reason I haven't been is I developed lenders during that time of hard times, and I've stayed with them, and they've stayed with me. 2 of them have passed away, unfortunately, but I still have lenders that will come to me and say, I got money. So I'm telling you, if you don't have money and you are honorable to borrow money from a private lender, that'll be the best deal you could ever make.
Now, Bob, are you using like a DSCR loan to pay them back? How do you are they staying in your deal?
Yes.
They stay in your deal.
Okay, elaborate on that. What exactly does that mean?
So I use DSCR loans.
Debt service cover.
Well,
service.
we don't need to get into the acronym, but it's debt service coverage ratio.
There, okay.
But it's a type of loan that is specific to that deal and that deal only. They only care about what is the principal, interest, taxes, and insurance payment divided by the rent amount. And if it equals 1.0, 1.1 or higher, your credit is good, then they'll do the deal. So that's how I pay back my private lenders. But it sounds like some of your guys and gals may be staying in it long term.
Yeah, the way that works with me and always has is that they write a check. So many people do it this way. I'm not the only one, believe it or not, that does this. But if If I buy the property, I know I can close on it. All right, now we're going to rehab it. Where does that money come from? It comes from the lender.
Right.
I give him a amount of what I've spent on rehabs at a certain time, maybe weekly, maybe bi-weekly. And I turn it over to him. He gives me a check. At the end of the deal, this is where he makes his money, and this is where I make my money. We split 50-50 profit. I have, and this is crazy, but I've done deals that we've made $50,000 a piece out of. Why? Because I made the right deal, had the money in place to buy that amount of property, and he had the amount of money to support us to where that we could, or they did, not he, but they, would supply whatever I needed without me having to go borrow any money. Now, I'm a believer in this. If you have your own money, don't spend it. Spend other people's money. Even though it may cost you, when you spend your money, you never replace it. You always find a reason not to replace it.
That's a good point.
And that's what I try to tell people. I've never quibbled about an interest rate, never quibbled about what they made on the side. It didn't matter as long as I was making my money and was able to pay them.
So it sounds like to me you're doing more like a joint venture.
Yeah.
Because you're giving up half the deal. So that's a little different, right?
But
so,
half of something is better than zero of
well,
nothing.
50% of something is better than 100% of nothing.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yep.
So to that point, the first flip we ever did was off of Sharon Hills and Cedar Hills subdivision. Found a house, driving for dollars. Met the seller. Had the house under contract for $75,000. I showed it. I was going to wholesale it. Had four people come by. I was going to wholesale it for $90,000. No takers. So Walter says, "Why don't you call Marshall and Keith and see if they'll partner with you on it?" So I called up Marshall and Keith. You know who I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, "I got this deal." They said, "Absolutely. Let's do a JV." So we just split the deal. So they put up all the money. So the purchase price plus I think we spent $11,000 to rehab the house. It was a good house. In fact, you did the original rehab.
Yeah.
It was a
I
show.
remember
We
the
joked
house.
because we looked
the
it up.
house.
We looked it up and said, "Hey, Bob Lucroy did this house years ago." So
Years
that's when
ago.
Marshall went, "Oh, this house is good." All we had to do is paint it, put some flooring in, and put a microwave and change out a chip tile
Heck yeah.
counter. But anyway, the long and short of it is, we listed the house for $159,000. My wife oversaw the project. Took 3 weeks. January of 2020 or 2021. Anyway, long and short of it was, a hedge fund came calling. They made a full price offer. They inspected it. We didn't touch the AC or the hot water tank, so they dinged us. So we ended up settling for $152,500, and we split $66,500. How about that for your first flip?
Well,
That's a good deal.
yeah, it is. You always have to protect your lender. I will say
100%.
this.
100%.
I have taken money out of my pocket to protect. If I made an error, if I did something that I felt like that he was or she or they were not part of,
Yep.
then that's on me. That's how you
good.
keep relationships to keep your money flowing
Yep.
to where that you sometime have to bite the bullet
Yep.
and do something because of you.
We've had to do that a couple times, and you know what? It doesn't show up in the stat line. Where it shows up is down the road. They go, "Hey, this person's going to do whatever they have to do to protect me," and that's key.
That goes a long way, I bet.
Yeah, because we hear a lot of stories. I can't tell you how many stories or accounts I've heard in the last 8 years of people not, running off with investors' money, not paying people back, slow paying them. Here's the thing in real estate, and it's like this everywhere. In real estate, you have to constantly communicate with your lenders, your partners, your investors. You have to. It's table stakes, right? Because silence constitutes problems. Silence, when people get in trouble, they get down. What do? They isolate. They stop talking.
Yep.
Bad sign.
Yep. Well, I think the whole thing about my success has been building trust with people. And two things. Number one is how do I find properties? I think that that's a big factor with a lot of people. They don't know how to find properties. I don't do a lot of anything trying to find properties. I would say 90% of the properties that I get comes from referrals of people that have properties that know what I do. I don't advertise. I don't do anything.
90%.
Except for your truck.
Yeah, I do.
With a little,
I believe that.
a little Vistaprint sign.
Yes. So, but you have to honor the people that help you be who you are and what you're doing. And if you do, and I've got a lot of words here. I've got mentors. I believe in mentors totally. And if you deal with the right people, not take advantage of them, they're not going to take advantage of you. But I got wholesalers that I won't do business with. Sounds crazy.
No, they're not good people. Probably they're not doing good business.
Well, they don't leave any money on the table for anyone.
There you go.
And I call those a one-night stand.
That's what they are. They're a one-hit wonder.
Yeah.
I had a guy reach out to me on a property just recently in Brook Hollow, and tried to tell me that the house appraised for $195,000, and I laughed at him because I said I bought houses in the neighborhood in the last 2 years. I said, "There ain't no $195,000 house in that neighborhood."
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, Brian. I just this morning I looked at a house on Brook Hollow Drive, and
It wasn't 152 by any chance, was it?
no.
Okay.
So anyway, he called me back this morning, and there was no spread in it.
Yeah.
And when I walked in the front door, you had to hold on to keep from sliding down the slab.
Wow.
Slab. So anyway, but I didn't tell him what was wrong with the house. I just told him the numbers didn't work for me.
There you
But I
go.
appreciated him calling.
And that's a good response.
Yeah. I never tell people when I'm negotiating what's wrong with their house. They know what's wrong with their house.
Absolutely.
That's a good point.
The last thing they want to hear is a negative about what's wrong with their house.
Yep.
And I do a lot of deals because negotiations. And I think that Walter always told me when I was doing this that I was one of the best negotiators. I try
heard
to
him
be.
say that.
I try to be to where everyone feels good when I walk out the door. And you can't badmouth their property because it's still their property.
That's right. Let's unpack that a little bit, Bob. So, and I knew this was going to be easy because you just have so many, you've thrown out so many nuggets. So let's just, Bob Lucroy finds a house, gets a lead. Walk us through your process for negotiating with that seller, how you go about your business.
Okay. All right. If you call me.
Is that okay to do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll give you a perfect example. This is what I do. If I get a call, which I've already got a call for one this morning, got it right here.
And let the record state he's not using a computer. He
No.
doesn't have a CRM. He's got a good old-fashioned pen and notebook.
There's no MacBook in his lap right now.
372 Woodcliff Drive. I know exactly where that's at. First thing I do is I'm going to look it up and see what the value is of that house on Zillow or some other place that'll tell me what projected the cost, the value of that house is.
Right.
So that's the first thing I do even before I go look at it.
I do the same.
And that way I have something in my mind about what is it worth. It's not always going to be right, but it's a ballpark figure. That's the first thing that I do. Then I check the neighborhood. I'll do a drive-by. I don't go and see a house unless I drive by it first, because I want to check the surroundings. I want to know what I'm going to be talking about when I go meet the people. If it's boarded up houses, burnt-out houses, that's what I'm looking for. If it's a nice neighborhood, that's what I'm looking for. But I know before I even meet them what the house looks like
Right.
in the neighborhood. I think that's important to know a little bit about before you go there and even start talking to them.
I agree.
And then and I ask them, the loaded question, you want to sell your house, or are you just taking information on it? I want them to know, are you serious of selling? Are you serious about selling your house, or are you just wanting to get an idea of it? And a lot of times they say, well, I don't know, what do you pay? I said, I don't know yet. I said, I'll have to run my numbers, and I'll give you a ballpark because I know the values here. That's one thing that I've always done is I've checked values, and I know every street basically in this city of Jackson. Why? I'm making my business. To every house I go, I want to know what that street runs off of. How you get there. So I know the neighborhoods. And so I just evaluate it. That way I have an idea in my mind what I can pay for that house. Then I'll run my numbers, then I'll tell them, okay, what is the bottom dollar you could take for your house today for cash? And that's how I open it up. And they might tell me, I said, well, let me think about it, but I don't know that I can reach that number. But I'm not going to tell you nothing right now. I'm going to do my due diligence first. Then I may call them back and tell them the numbers just doesn't work for me. Or I may, if they say something good, I'll write a contract on the job right while I'm there. Never go in without my folder that has a contract in it. Always have it.
There's a tip, right? And you don't need a 20-page contract.
1 page.
Simple is simple. I've seen your contract. Simple. Mine's a page and a half. Simple is better. Less is more.
Yeah. So I do that all the time. That's what I do is I carry my folder in with the contracts, and I'll have this little book here, one of my little books. I'll have their name, address, phone number, and usually I get their email address so that I can get my wife to send them emails. I don't do that either.
Bob does not do email. All right. So now I want to ask this question. So Daniel is a newer investor, and he's starting out. So for him and those listening, like, what are Bob Lucroy's what's the top 5 things you would tell a new investor? How do I get started so I can be successful?
Well, the first thing you need to do is make a commitment that that's what you're going to do.
That's good.
If you do not make a commitment, then you're just shopping. But if you're serious about being an investor or wanting to buy a house, I need to know that you're real serious about buying a house. Then, if you are, then I want to help you. I've always said I help people. I don't buy from people. I help people, and I let them know this. I know you want to get rid of this house, so I'm going to help you get rid of it. But I tell them about myself, let them know I'm real, that I pay cash, and that I can close in 10 working days. That's always a policy that I tell them. And that if you're serious about selling, then if I write you a contract, I'll honor it. I always do, good, bad, or ugly. And it's just simple, basic, simple language that I use. I don't try to hype them up. I don't try to sell a lot of building goods or of how great I am or what a bad house you got. I leave them. When I leave them, they're happy. They may not do business with me, but I hadn't insulted them.
So, Bob, real quick. So, the confidence that you have when you are making a deal, right? You go in, you walk the property, you have a general idea of what it's going to cost to rehab the
Right.
property.
Exactly.
Now, you've been doing this for a long time. For me, when I walk into a property like yesterday, when I walked into O'Brien, I just have big old wide eyes and I think, okay, well, what do we need to do here? I have no idea what the rehab costs are going to be. I have no idea. So, my question to you is, how long were you in the business making deals every single day where you had the utmost confidence that you'd be able to walk into a property and say, okay, I can visualize this. I know exactly what this is going to cost. I can make you an offer right now for X amount of dollars. How long had you been doing this before you had that confidence to be able to do that?
Daniel, not very long, because my experience in renovation helped me to
Right.
have that knowledge.
Right.
So I can walk through a house and tell you, I can look at a hot water heater, I can look at anything, and tell you what it's gonna cost.
Yes, sir.
So if it's in need of a house, I don't tell them. I just run a number, but not. First 2 or 3 houses, I could tell you that what I could buy because of my experience being a contractor.
Right.
And I've been a licensed contractor. I have all the credentials. That's one thing that I believe in is being real when you go in, pull permits. I do the things that you should do to make the deal work and not come back and bite you.
So I would answer that question. So I wasn't a contractor. I didn't build. I was a telecom exec, and I would tell you, there's nothing like experience walking houses. That's why I'm not a fan of remote wholesaling, because I don't know how a person can have that kind of knowledge, especially in our market, because it varies by street to street. But I'll get off my soapbox. But I had to learn. And how did I do that? Well, I never, we may have walked a house or two with you. I don't remember, maybe one, but I had a mentor and I walked a house with them, or I'd have, tell me what you think of this house. What do I need to be looking at? And as you do more and you figure out, I know what it costs my guys to replace a hot water tank. I know what an electric panel is. I know switches, plugs, outlets, lighting, the whole 9 yards, right? HVAC, sometimes we'll do foundation. You learn by doing.
Yep.
And you also learn by having people like Bob. Now, this might be a great plug. Bob used to do a ride along with Bob for a day. Is that still available?
It is. I don't do it as much as I used to,
Okay.
but for a while I would have take 3 people with me that wanted to go, and they would pay me a little fee, naturally. But I said, now we're gonna start at 9 o'clock or 9:30 this morning. We're not gonna. I don't believe in taking lunch. You'll never see me go in and
So
take
you better
lunch.
pack a lunch, guys.
Yes.
I love that.
So I never know when lunchtime comes, and they would tip me or pay me for something. But I said, now when you're going with me, if I have a closing, you're gonna go in that closing with me. I've carried these people in closings a lot of times because they were just following me. Seen the doctors have their students following them around.
Right.
That's what they would do.
Exactly.
So, but I do that on special occasions. I used to do it once a week, but I don't do it like I used to, simply because the volume of housing is not what it used to be now.
Gotcha.
That I do.
Gotcha. But you would offer that today?
Yes, I will.
Okay.
Mhm.
And if I was a newbie and I said, Bob, I'd love to go with you, how do I set an appointment with you? Do you have a phone? You have a cell phone, right?
Yeah, I do have a cell phone.
What's your cell number? What's your cell number?
601-601-291-9025. I've had that number since 1991.
All right.
When PowerTel was in
I remember those guys. I was in telecom. So there's another way that you can fast track, learn the business. go walk houses. You know, you're going to walk away. You're going to walk away from more than you're going to buy.
Yeah.
True statement.
No doubt. No doubt.
Not every house is a deal per se. I think I've heard people say, you know, Bill Cook says, get me to the kitchen table and 90% chance of doing a deal. Jeremy Beelan was here and he says, I go to make a friend. I don't walk the house. I go sit down at the kitchen table or a couch and we chat. And what are you're trying to figure out what's the problem I'm here to solve. Yeah.
Well,
so it takes time but you have, what did Jim Ingersoll say? If you're not doing deals, you're not making enough offers.
Right.
So you got to look at houses to make offers.
I looked at 4 yesterday.
There you go.
Did I buy one? I don't know yet.
Yeah.
I made 2 offers.
Yep.
I turned 2 down after when I was looking for.
Yep.
But I think that going back to what my goals were when I started is I didn't have an education, didn't go to college, no country boy, so I just worked. So I decided what my retirement was going to be is to have me a portfolio of nice rental properties that I could either own or finance at some point or have rent coming in. And that's where my retirement is now. People say, when are you going to retire? I says, I am retired. I do what
Looking
I
at 4
want.
properties a day.
And
it's fun.
Yeah,
it's like Monopoly, but for real.
Yeah.
Right?
It is.
Most people, they get up, they get in their car, they go to their job, nothing wrong with the job, and they just go around the board. They pay utilities, they pay rent, they pay a mortgage, they get stopped for a ticket or whatever, and on payday they go past go, and they just keep going around the board.
And they complained about how awful their job is.
Or you could own the board.
Yeah.
You can buy those properties. You can create cash flow, appreciation. So anyway,
well, I think that
it's a great retirement plan, by the way.
Yeah, and I think you have to have a commitment of what you want to do and how you're going to get where you want to be. And if you don't have some goal or a plan, you'll never reach it.
I agree. So I just heard, got to have a why, need goals every year. Amy and I set goals in December for the following year. We review those goals throughout the year. I'm sure you do the same with your wife.
Yep.
Pat, who's doing well. That's good. We pray for her. Then your son's in a property management business.
He is.
Right? Charlie.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got, and your daughter helps you, right?
She does.
So all the Lucroys are in the family, are in the family business, right? You're like the Reagans of Jackson. I'm a Blue Bloods guy, so forget the connotation.
Well, we're a close-knit family. Everyone knows what the business is that we do. They'll all end up something along the way that will be theirs, and I've made that arrangement already. And so I wouldn't take anything from any rentals that I have now simply because I get money from a mailbox. And I call it mailbox money. I know Tom and them always call it the mailbox money.
That's right.
He was a mailman for a long time.
The millionaire mailman, Tom Nardone. We're going to have him on here at some point.
Yeah. So anyway,
Tom's my buddy.
He is. So, but if you have goals, you got to commit to make those goals.
Agreed.
And that's what I live by. I get up every morning at 6:30. I know exactly where I'm going. I've already planned out my day. Of course, they're all unexpected times sometimes show up, but you still got to have a plan. And to new people coming in, if you don't have a plan, you'll never be successful.
Exactly. Man, I'm going to just say right there, that right there, there's a book called Win the Day by Mark Batterson. So he just laid it out. I mean, you got to have a plan every day. It's the little things, right? Success isn't a huge bite. It's just little. There was a guy years ago when I was in telecom. I was back when it was CFW Telecom, Bobby Moyer. I'll throw his name out there. I don't even know if he's still alive, but he was one of the best salesmen I've ever met. He wore a shirt, tie, and suit. He never sold a thing. All he did, Monday I'm going here, Tuesday I'm going. He would drive Monday through Friday throughout our area, right? We were a local telephone company. Then we eventually became a wireless provider. And he just went from client to client, brought him donuts. Hey, how you doing? Oh, by the way, I need XXXX. And when he retired, that guy was making more than a CEO at the time because he understood sales is not about selling, it's about relationships.
Right. Well,
And so Bob just pretty much said, Monday I'm doing this, Tuesday, he has a plan. That's phenomenal.
My plan is 100 doors within 10 years.
I think I think you're putting too much time in that plan, but we'll talk more later.
Okay.
You can do it a lot quicker because remember, right now you're new. Are you going to get better over the next 12 months? Yes. And then the next 12 months, so I'll bet you can but that's good to have a goal. That's a great start,
yeah.
But I'll bet you can do it in half the time.
Okay.
My opinion.
Well, you mentioned 100. I had 103 rental houses at one time.
Ooh.
And
you don't have 103 now.
No, I don't. But my point is, like you said, I was a volume person.
Mm-hmm.
I was buying. I had people supporting me to where and the market was wide open at that time. This was in the 2006, 2007 till everything fell apart. But I was going to closings. I would average probably 4 closings a day for a long time.
Crap.
Now, that's a lot. That's a lot.
So So I'm not going to ask you how many doors you have today, but it's probably less than 103.
Yeah.
But would you say you went from for lack of a better, you were infatuated with getting doors to maybe cash flow per door was more important?
Yes.
Would you agree with that?
Right. Yep. And I don't mind saying now I only have, but I'm doing some owner financing, some of my paid for houses, and I don't owe any money on anything. And when I start doing, and I just started this owner financing, but that's just easier right now. If you got a good house and you bring it in, you can get a little bit more money out of it with interest and all.
Yeah.
So more and more, I will move into more of the owner financing of my paid for property.
And you're not paying taxes.
Right.
You're not paying for repairs.
But that was my plan. That was my plan later years to have mailbox money coming in that I didn't have to go and fix the sinks or so forth.
So Bob, this has been fantastic. I mean, there's so many nuggets. If you're out there listening and you need to go back and listen to this because he is throwing out gold.
Oh yeah.
So you just said you're 87.
Mm-hmm.
My dad turned 86. So you got about the same age. He just shut his business down. Trying to get them involved with trying to do some stuff in IRAs. So like you said, I retired my job at 55 and people said, well, you're still working. I said, no, I'm not. I said, this is not work. I don't consider this work. So what's on so you're winding it down, but you're still doing some stuff to stay active. So at what point do you see yourself maybe just backing off a little more or maybe not? Maybe you're just going to keep rolling until the good Lord says, time to come home.
That's where I'm at. I have no interest in going home and sitting down.
I like that.
Me too.
But my hobby is my work. I don't have any hobbies. And
you got a boat. You like your boat, right?
Yeah, well, Charlie's got it now.
Well, but you and Pat travel sometimes, right? You go take trips when you want.
We have traveled. We've been on, counted up, we've been on 33 cruises. We've traveled to, I believe we said 7 different countries.
Wow.
So we've had our share of, but all of this basically was because of seminars on real estate meetings too, by the way. So we have traveled the country and the world, groups of people that were in the same business. Why? We wanted to keep our relationships, not only in our neighborhood, but across the country.
Yeah, very important. So it would be fair to say real estate has enabled you to live life on your terms.
Right.
Right?
No doubt.
You can go do what you want. I can go to look at 4 houses tomorrow. We're looking at 2 today, as a matter of fact. Or I can say, you know what? I'm going to go play golf for the next 5 days and I'm not going to worry about it.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to go see my grandkids because they're all in Virginia now. They're not here. So I have to travel. So isn't that awesome to have that kind of choice?
I'm enjoying it.
I'd say you are. Well, listen, we got 5 minutes left. So, Daniel, is there anything you want to add or anything you want to ask Bob? We've kind of just been kind of free flowing here. I hope this has been okay.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it.
Good.
Never done it before, but I'm enjoying it.
First time for everything.
Yeah, you're doing a fantastic job.
First podcast, age 87, folks.
I know, and he knocked it
Never
out of the park.
You're never too old to start.
Yeah, he's knocked it out of the freaking park. It's been absolutely incredible. No, this is just, it's been absolutely incredible for me. Like, I was just sitting here thinking, like, how grateful I am that I am in this position that not only do I get to host with this podcast with you and learn every single day, but the most brilliant minds are coming into the studio every single week, and I'm getting to soak up and learn. Like, I'm in an incredibly unique situation to be able to have all of this knowledge just directly in front of my plate. And all I have to do is walk through the doors that God's opening. I'm doing the work. I'm listening. I'm keeping my mouth shut when it's necessary and keeping my ears wide open. And I'm learning and learning and learning and learning. And I can't think of anybody else that has this wonderful, incredible opportunity that I have. So my plan is, when I say 100 doors, that's not just me throwing something out. That's me saying, okay, God has put the people in front of me, the knowledge in front of me. He's surrounded me by the right people. 100 doors is not some crazy out of this world goal. 100 doors is what I'm going to do if I continue to put one foot in front of the other every single day. And I don't see myself changing or deviating from that plan. So I'm incredibly grateful for this opportunity every single week and every single day, because Brian, I've got you in my corner. Bob, I've got you in my corner. We're working on a deal right now. Like, God is just my life. I feel like I have arrived right now. I feel like I'm living my dream as we speak.
You're on the journey, right? Someone once told me, I don't think we ever really truly arrive.
Maybe arrive is not the right term,
but you're on the journey, because you can always, like, I've learned stuff today that I didn't know. Every day I learned something new. So I think being lifelong students. But the most important thing is, like, we can have all these guests come in and you can listen to all these podcasts and you can go to all these seminars. But if you don't take action,
right,
it's worthless.
Yeah.
When people say knowledge is power, that's not correct. The use of knowledge is power.
That's good.
Because if you don't use the knowledge, it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't do anything.
Yeah, faith without works is
any
dead.
final comments or thoughts from you, Mr. Bob?
On that, I was make one statement that stayed with me. Years and years ago, I heard this, and what we were just talking about is that if you are walking down the road and you see an old man there and you stop and talk to him, and you talk to him for 15 minutes, you're going to walk away with something he said that you'll remember. May not be but one word or something, but someone told me that many years ago, and I believe that. If you talk to people, you're going to pick up something that'll help you down the road.
I agree 100%. This has been fantastic. Bob, thank you for coming on and being with us. We greatly appreciate it. We're completely humbled that you would allow us to have you on here. And, man, keep on keeping on.
Thank you all so
Appreciate
much for
you,
having me.
Appreciate you, brother. Daniel, turn it back to you.
All right. We'll see you next week. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here with us and joining us on another week. We'll see you next week next Friday at 9:30 a.m. See you guys.
The BrickFolio podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. We are not attorneys, financial advisors, or tax professionals. Nothing in this podcast constitutes professional advice. Always consult licensed professionals before making investment decisions. By listening, you agree we are not responsible for any action you take. Stay smart and do your own due diligence.